Welcome back to Y&R For Life, where we talk about all things Y&R related. We talk about what's going on, my predictions, what I think's going to happen. Hey, we even talk about fashion on the show from time to time because I'm a big time fashion girl, so we got to spill tea about that. If you're new to this channel, my question is, what took you so long to get here? And if you are returning, what's up? Long time no see. It has been quite the week where we pretty much part of it kind of came to a close, so to speak. But we will get into that, see where it takes us, and, let's just hope for the best. Couple of disclaimers. If you don't want to know what's going on, you kind of want to get caught up on your own, this may not be what you want to see or hear, but I am so grateful that you are here. And if I happen to not mention anything in particular, it could be because I plumb forgot, or it really just wasn't newsworthy. It is what it is. I didn't bother mentioning it, so it's the nature of the beast. That's what I like to call it. And if you do like this type of content, you do like what you see, you like what you hear, it would be so kind if you hit that like and subscribe, as well as that bell notification. Click that so that you don't miss a single video that I post here on Y&R For Life. Okay, so at the beginning of the week, we saw scared little Audra. Man, she is slippery. We saw her come into, albeit Victor's train car. I mean, how many train cars are there? It feels like it's like one train and they all kind of go, it's like one train car and they all go in their separate little quarters. Weird. But anyway, she ends up meeting with Victor. Victor's reading a book and she is basically stumbling over her words, trying to kind of skedaddle out of there. She's saying that she wants to speak with, I believe she said Chance. I don't think it was Kane. I think it was Chance, for whatever reason. Anyway, Victor's like, hold on 1 second. Have a seat. So he's basically saying, so what's the dealio here? What's going on between you and Kyle? Have you made any progress with, our arrangement, And she's like, well, Victor, I think Kyle may be, a little hesitant, but don't worry, I'll get the job done. I've got him right where I want him. No, you don't. Now, I still maintain from last week, to me, and probably a lot of other people, Kyle went too far. That whole getting hot and heavy on the bed story, Kyle, it's going to come to bite you in the butt, but I digress. So yeah, Audra's telling Victor she has Kyle right where she wants him. Don't think so. I think at this point she's scrambling. She is just like grasping at straws where Kyle is concerned. So while she's speaking with Victor, Michael saunters in and basically says to Victor, I need to talk to you, like right away, this kind of thing. So Victor's like to Michael, and then he says to Audra, basically, you better make sure you have up until the end of the day to make whatever happen. If not, the whole deal is off. And she's like, yes, I'll get it done, Mr. Newman. You can consider Vibrante like gone. Audra, no. Okay, so she's gone, and now Michael takes over, and he's basically telling Victor, oh, did you hear that Nick and Sharon have been escorted escorted to some secluded place, a room or whatever, and they have been put under house arrest. And Victor's like, what? Like, this is ludicrous. What is going on? And that conversation, of course, it rang very short. And Victor basically said he's off to handle it. He's going to go and confront Kane. And Michael offered to come with him as a legal representative. And he basically said to Michael, bugger off. Oh, Michael. when are you going to learn? I mean, even Lauren at some point this week was like, I think it was the same episode. She's like, well, when are you going to learn that Victor, like he's basically a madman and he doesn't value your friendship because even though you've been through whatever with him, like he's still treating you like the scum of the earth. Now she didn't say those words, but at one point she got so hot and heated, she was like, "Err," and she even used the word petulant. I was like, okay, this is not a word we use in everyday conversation, Lauren. Way to go. Yeah, I was like, oh boy. Yeah, that didn't go over well. But I think that was pretty much the only time we saw Michael. He needs more screen time. Can you put Michael back on the screen? He's funny, just like Adam and when Tucker was on. So bring all the funny ones back. Yes. So again, Michael is like, I don't know what to do, and I tried, and it is what it is at this point in time. So poor Michael is kind of like wallowing in his own little, oh no, Victor doesn't like me story, but whatever. Okay, moving right along, because we got a number of things to cover here. All right, so let's move to Nick and Sharon. Okay, my prediction is going to come true where those two are concerned because I've already said it is leaving the room open for another Nick and Sharon coupling together. It's going to happen. It's pretty much happening right before our eyes, but okay, we'll just wait for the formal part, but whatever. So Nick and Sharon, as you know, have been placed under house arrest by Creepy Carter. And the bodyguard, where he came from, I don't know. So they put them into this, albeit looks like some sort of storage closet, if you will. Has some boxes, and what cracked me up, and I didn't notice at first, but there was people that said, because they were trying to get out of this room, of course, they're locked in. Creepy Carter locked them in there. And if you notice, on the door, the hinges for the door were on the inside of the door instead of the outside. Oh boy. So it begs the question, why didn't Nick just take the pins out of the hinges? I don't know. Okay. So let's assume that they didn't know this. Okay. So at some point, of course they're trying to get out and push forward. Nick basically tells Sharon, like he's got an idea, and he's basically asking Sharon to pick the lock. Oh boy. So Sharon's there with, I don't even know what it was, but a piece of wire, and she's like, this Nick, why didn't you do it? Now all of a sudden Sharon is some big time lock picker. Okay. They had a few little moments while they were within the room, reminiscing about the past, you know, talking about, where they were in their relationship when he had like a bad hairdo, and it was all light and fluffy. They had a few little funny haha moments. But after, just before she finished picking the lock, they had found a box of old things, and there was like information in the box pertaining to the chateau or the grounds or whatever, and it had previously belonged to a family, like I think it was the De Leons, something like that. And I was like, ching, in my head, thinking that Creepy Carter had something to do with this. So I don't know if they're going to come up with some additional storyline to that. I don't see why you should. I don't even know like if that is even relevant, but time will tell. Anyway, fast forward now. Sharon basically picks the lock and they high five and yeah, as soon as Nick opens the door, there stands the bodyguard and Nick's like, yeah, you know, glad to see you because I was waiting for you. I got something. Oh my goodness. And then basically Nick bum rushes the guy and they end up with like fisticuffs. And then next thing you know, the bodyguard knees Nick in the abdomen. And I'm assuming this is where he had gotten stabbed before, if you remember, with Jordan back at her place. Um, but I'm confused as to that was a long time ago. How did this guy just knee him in the abdomen and then all of a sudden Nick is profusely bleeding? I was confused. So anyway, um, now Sharon, of course, is like, oh my gosh, Nicholas. He is again bleeding profusely. Sharon runs off to go and get help. She ends up finding Billy. Oh boy. This is after Billy has now told off. He told off Amanda. Yeah, that was funny. He told off Amanda. Um Somebody else, I think he had just told off Jack or something like that, but it was just from one person to the next. Anyway, Billy runs over to where Nick is and he's trying to help. He was really no help, um, but he decides that he needs to go get help. And who does he go and get? Sally Spectra, who, by the way, she's like, I'm not an EMT, but she comes with her bag. I don't know why she came with her bag, but okay. There was nothing in it for her to use, but what do I know? So, in order to help disinfect the area, they used a bottle of alcohol that was in this place and some dirty rags in order to sop up the blood and salt. I don't even know where the salt was. Was that in her bag? Was that like the only thing in her bag? And if so, why does she have salt in her bag? That's weird. But anyway, oh, by the way, Nick had knocked out the security guard with a bottle. All I heard was ping. Okay. And this guy was out cold for maybe an episode, like maybe like the whole next episode. He was out cold, but okay. He lives to see another day and tells a story. Okay. After Sally finishes with Nick, they basically, take him back to where Victor was previously sitting, reading a book in the train car. All right. So they're there, and basically, Sharon and Nick are having their little close moments, and okay, let's just finish off where they're concerned. At some point in time, it's just the two of them. This is after everybody else leaves. Because Victor had been there, Nikki had been there, and the whole 9 yards. And basically, Nick tells Sharon in his time of his bleeding profusely story, and he goes, come closer. And she's like, he says, closer. And then he leans up to kiss her. I was like, dude, you basically have blood spewing out of your side. They wrapped you up with look like twine, and you have time for that? Okay. And then Sharon, of course, has this glossy look on her face, like, I'll never leave you, Nick. Oh, okay, great. So that was pretty much um, Sharon and Nick. All right. Um, who else? All right. At one point in time, after Nikki found out that Nick and Sharon had been taken to house arrest, if you will, she is like, look here, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get my son back. And he needs, he needs to be freed. You know, it was like, save Nick, save Nick. So she basically gets a visit at some point in time from Lauren, and apparently they were supposed to go on some sort of evening stroll, if you will, but that didn't happen. So the two of them have their conversation, they go off and talk, and basically Nikki says to Lauren, like, she's gonna do whatever to get Nick back, and if she has to, she's going to give up Chancellor. Nikki, now you're like jumping the gun here. And oh, how convenient it was, because she ends up meeting up with Amanda. And it was very convenient that Amanda already had like papers drawn up for the sale of Chancellor, like the transfer of power, if you will, to Kane, already done up. I was like, oh, well, and even Lauren was like, well, that's convenient. There was something else that she had already drawn up. But yeah, it was very convenient that she had all this done. And Lauren's like, Nikki, this is coercion at its finest. Nope. And she came up with something like, she came up with all these legal terms. I was like, go ahead, Lauren. Man, you're learning from your husband. Go ahead. Anyway, so Nikki basically says to Amanda, look, I want to have a moment with my friend, but they do. They talk. Lauren says to her, don't do it. This is ridiculous. And then Amanda comes back and, Nikki says basically, I I am ready to go and do this, but I need to make sure that my son is okay. I need to see my son. So Amanda's like, let's go. Unbeknownst to Amanda, Nick and Sharon have escaped, if you will. So she goes and takes Nikki and Lauren to wherever they were holding him, and she sees blood, whatever, and she has this look on her face like, oh my goodness, this is not good. This is not good. And Nikki, of course, is losing her noodle over it, and Lauren is standing by like, oh, you see? And so that was that. At some point in time, uh, Victor had approached Kane and given him a piece of his mind about release my son right now, right now, right now. Push forward, when Nick and Sharon were in the train car, Victor comes and sees Nick, has a conversation, which I had to laugh because Victor's just sitting there like, this is not right. You know, I'm going to get Kane. Meanwhile, your son is right across from you, like seething in pain, and you're not even comforting him. Oh boy. So he's like, I'm going to go get your mother. Literally seconds later, Nikki walks in. Nicholas! Nicholas! Okay, like, I don't know. Thankfully, I will say again that they've pretty much wrapped up a good, I'm going to say pretty much majority of the whole niece um, nonsense, if you will. But what ends up happening is that through, I'm going to say somewhere in the beginning of the week, maybe it was Tuesday or so, that's when Victor and Chance speak with Creepy Carter. And through their conversation, or their, asking a million and one questions to Carter, this guy basically, he almost confesses that he had set Nick up. Because he basically says where the bloody knife was. And Victor and Chance had never said where exactly it was. So, what does that say? Anyway, at some point in time, Kane because Kane's been bouncing around. Like, he just seems to be just catching the tail part of it, almost every conversation, right? So he comes and he overhears Victor and Chance with Carter grilling him. And he basically wants to take over. So Kane questions, albeit interrogates creepy Carter as to what did you do? What's going on? Fast forward, creepy Carter admits that, he saw Damian anyway as like he was in the way of Kane's happiness to try and get Lily back. So he was kind of moving Damian out of the way in order to allow this to happen. Carter, I don't know what to tell you, but wasn't a good idea. So much so that it came to a head that Carter, as much as he confesses, he's thinking that Kane is going to be in his corner. Meanwhile, behind one of the hedges, if you will, bushes, whatever, is Chance and Victor. Victor had gone to say, you know what, I'm going to go look after my son. And Chance, you handle this. So Chance is like Columbo, man. This guy is behind the bushes. He's eavesdropping, listening. And at some point, he comes around and was like, looks like you put the wrong person under house arrest. Meaning it should have been Carter. And he's saying this to Kane. Oh boy. Creepy Carter loses his mind and he's like, I can't believe that you would do this to me. After all my loyalty, I thought you were going to protect me. And he's like, this was not the way, Maybe Amanda will defend you. But defend me? I don't need defending. I mean, this guy was talking about how he was going to try and, get a helicopter or a flight or whatever and leave. And then assume a new name and a whole new identity. Yeah, no, wasn't going to happen, Carter. So what ends up happening is that he pulls out a gun. Both Kane and Chance are like, no, 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 no. This is not good. No, this is not going to help you. What are you doing? Who ends up showing up? Lily. So then Carter ends up turning the gun towards Lily and is like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Basically, he's going to get rid of Lily because Kane is not in his corner. Oh boy. So he takes Lily at gunpoint and he's like, don't follow me. And he's going through the maze. Who do they bump into? Billy. Billy is like, what the hell? What the hell? And Carter was like, stay back, whatever. Lily, of course, is basically in a headlock with the gun pointed at her. And Billy was like, okay. Like, I'm no superhero here. Like, not happening. So he stood back. Anyway, Chance flies in out of nowhere And the two of them, he grabs Carter. Oh, how that happened, sorry, I forgot, is that Kane says to Carter, point the gun at me, let Lily go. So eventually he does this. That's when um, Chance swoops in to try and wrestle him to the ground or wrestle the gun out of him. But what ends up happening is, well, I can't even say do good or Chance anymore. Carter shoots Chance, and unfortunately, um, that was the end of Chance. He died. And moments later, after Carter runs off, he shoots himself and kills himself. So now there are three deaths within that whole chateau. Damian's gone, Chance is gone, and Creepy Carter is gone. Well, that was that. So now everybody is still reeling over this, but somehow, Billy Boy is now still on the hunt to get Chancellor, and he is now trying to get Phyllis once again to help him in this quest. And in his words is that this is going to honor Chance. Oh boy. Okay, Billy, you can use Chance as an excuse at this point if you feel like it, but really, this is all you. You really are still trying to right this wrong that you think that was done to you by Jill and Victor. But okay, whatever. And of course, Phyllis, she's gonna do it. She's so desperate at this point. Again, I normally love Phyllis, but she is too loosey goosey these days. Anyway, yeah, that was how that ended. On a side note, there was that point with Kyle telling Jack and Diane about the whole Audra trying to seduce him story and how Victor was involved. Oh, so much so that he was like, Victor, can I have a word with you? He's like, can I have a word with you right now? He's like, not you. Oh boy. I mean, Kyle, I don't know. As I said, I think that's gonna, what you did is gonna come back to bite you in the butt. Something fierce. It's gonna just leave the room open for Holden, and Claire. It, I don't know. It's, to me, it's like a given, but, and who knows, maybe you'll end up back with Audra. I don't know, because Nate's gonna probably go over to Victoria, like I said. So I don't know. Anyway, let me think. I think that was pretty much the week. Oh, everybody's phone came back online because Amanda, she fixed that. Because of course she already knew that they had jammed the system, and now all of a sudden everybody's phones are ping 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 ping. They're back online. So now they're as per Victor, we're gonna get the hell out of here. He called Adam, said, your brother has been hurt badly, send a helicopter. I swear, within seconds, or maybe a commercial break or something, the helicopter came. Oh, I couldn't have laughed any more this week. But yeah, I mean, even Sally, she put on her little Daisy Dukes and she just barely went hiking down the mountain. Sally, and had like a little dirt mark on her face because she did her thing. She took one for the team. Okay. So again, that was pretty much the week. We know who the killer is. It was Creepy Carter. We saw what he did to the bourbon, and how he threw the knife to kill Damian. We saw that. My question is, when he threw the knife, was Cain not able to see that it was him based on his angle? That I question. I feel like he knew, but okay, maybe he's playing a different, game here. But yeah, so I don't know. So yes, Damian's gone. Chance is no longer. Nina and Jill are gonna freak out over this, especially Nina, and I feel bad for her. But them the breaks, unfortunately, in soap opera land. And we, of course, I wish Connor Floyd, I wish him all the best on his new role on the other soap opera. I think it's Days of Our Lives. I believe he'll be playing, is he playing Chad DeMira? I believe so, which was Billy Flynn's old role. But whatever his venture is, I wish him all the best. I'm sad I can't call Do Gooder Chance anymore. But I'm sure I will come up with a nickname for somebody else. So there you have it, folks. That was pretty much the week. If you stuck around to the end of this video, I am so grateful. I appreciate your time. I love you lots. It means the world to me. And yeah, if you like this type of content, you like what you see, you like what you hear, it would be so kind if you hit that like and subscribe button once again. And, share, share, share. Why? Because sharing is caring. And let's see what this week holds. Poor Cardigan Kane. I didn't forget that nickname. Poor Cardigan Kane, he's pretty much lost it all at this point. And I still maintain prediction that somehow Lily will take him back at some point in time. When that is, I don't know, but my spidey senses are tingling. So we'll see. So let's just see where next week takes us, all right? You guys take care. Bye.